Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Griffin,
Here.
Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Moorer, McCormack, Mooney, Polensik, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Would everyone please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please dispense of the journal.
By Councilmember Santana, that the reading of the minutes of the last meeting be dispensed with, the journal approved. Seconded by Councilmember McCormack.
Thank you. We'll now move to public comment. And first up, I have my good friend Marlon Naylor from Ward 14 to talk about Black history and the mayor. Mr. Naylor. Come to the mic. Please adhere to the time that we have, and you could look at the front clock where all council members turn around to acknowledge the speakers.
Okay. Go ahead now.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm new at this blade, first time. Even though I've been around a long time, I got some time in. I only got a few things to say. I want to speak to you about the mayor personally. Tonight is very impersonal to me, and Black history. I was here to come last week to speak about it, but I didn't get the opportunity because I lost my father to COVID. Yeah, last couple of weeks has been tragic, so I haven't been down here. But I got a night to speak, and it's very important to me, Mayor, okay? My father was an employee for years here, and he admires you. I want you to know that. You know, this is important to me as his son to come tonight. But first I want to speak to Blade Griffin. Now, I've been knowing for many years, and it's important for me to stand here. You know, I don't know what people think about it, but I'm individually speaking. I've been knowing you for a long time, Mr. Griffin, and I go back with him. And for me to see you when I came down here, and it was so special to me, you know, because I watched you grow. I watched you come from where you come from back in the time 14 years ago under the old administration and where you are now. To me, it's a pleasure to see you as my friend and been knowing you for the many 14 years and to be the new council president. Can I get an amen? Because it's important to me. Mr. Griffin, it is. It's very important to me. And the time I've been knowing you, I've always known you to be very cordial, caring, and a man of integrity. Now, council, as I move over to the mayor. Mayor, I come on behalf of my father. I might have a little tears in my eyes because when he died 2 weeks ago, he had me to come down here to speak to you behind this podium. I don't know you personally. I got a chance to be in the hallway. I kind of know my mother knows your mother. But it's important to me to speak on behalf of my father in the spirit because he's gone. And he told me to come down here. And he said, that man, that young man, you, he admired you. And he knew that you was going to be the new mayor, the first African young mayor. Is that correct? Youngest mayor? Is that correct? Youngest. The youngest. So that was my part. Thank you. Been knowing it for years. For me to come here tonight and say that is, you made Black history with me. How about it, everybody, for our mayor? First youngest. The new generation, you know, Justin Bibbs.
Thanks, Marlon.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Marlon. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marlon. Appreciate your heartfelt remarks, and thank you so much, my friend. I have been knowing you for a long time. Jenna Thomas, Ward 16, Complete and Green Streets, Ordinance 2.0. She's with Bike Cleveland. Jenna Thomas, you have the floor. We'll get those out if you can in a second with everyone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Whenever you.
Nothing
thank
is
you.
really supposed to be put out like that. But
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, thank you, Council President Griffin and members of council, for giving me this opportunity to draw your attention to the need for a complete and green streets ordinance updated in the city of Cleveland. A complete and green streets ordinance would address the livability and environmental needs of our community by creating a transportation system for all of us, including walkers, transit riders, wheelchair users, and bike riders alike. The ordinance should establish best practices for street design. It should outline resources that the city should consult when redesigning a street, and require that the street prioritize vulnerable road users first. The ordinance is also critical in the Vision Zero initiative that council and the administration are working together on to eliminate traffic fatalities and serious injuries. In 2011, City Council took first steps in passing an initial green and complete streets ordinance, but unfortunately this legislation is essentially unenforceable, and it lacks many key pieces such as the creation of an oversight committee, a public hearing requirement for exempted projects, and mandated metrics that must be reported on annually. We've been working with Councilman Kerry McCormick for almost 3 years to update this ordinance, and we are hoping that the new legislation will eliminate the loopholes that exist that have created numerous missed opportunities for transformative street design. In the packets that I emailed to you, but also I have physical copies for those who are interested. It outlines many of those missed opportunities, and you'll see when looking at those packets that Clevelanders time and time again have been deprived of safe, green, functional, and frankly more beautiful streets. And your constituents need safer and more inclusive streets. In some neighborhoods of Cleveland, as many as 60% of residents do not have access to a vehicle. Across the whole city, a quarter of residents do not have access to a vehicle. So we know that our neighbors are often relying on their feet and their bikes to get from place to place, and you have the power to improve the health of Clevelanders, to foster economic growth, and offer safer options for the most affordable modes of transportation. If you choose to support the ordinance, you'll be joining organizations like the American Heart Association, ADA Cleveland, Cleveland Neighborhood Progress, many of our neighborhood CDCs and others, and we are also thrilled to see the ordinance prioritized in Mayor Bibb's transition plan, and we would love to see a united front between the administration and council in support of this ordinance. If you do not choose to support this ordinance, I think it is likely that you'll have to answer to your constituents as to why council is once again settling for subpar, unsafe, unattractive, inaccessible, and generally less functional streets, when we all know that Cleveland can do so much better. Thank you for your time, and I left business cards, and you all have my email as well. So if you have any questions, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Thomas, and we'll make sure that we get those out to all of council on your behalf. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Angelo Trevisano from Cleveland to talk about the economic cost of traffic crashes, and he's not representing anyone. And Angelo, you have the floor.
Last year, this city's traffic crashes inflicted over $2 billion in preventable wealth loss on Cleveland's families and visitors. This number and others that I share today are based on nearly 14,000 Division of Police crash reports and economic studies from the CDC and the Federal Department of Transportation. The biggest ward losses, Ward 5 lost $215 million of future wealth. Wards 6, 10, and 1 each lost about $140 million. At the other end of the list, Wards 13, 15, 16, and 17 each lost between 60 and 80 million. Once more, $2 billion in preventable wealth loss in 1 year. Well, let me break this statement down further. Wealth loss. Every serious and fatal crash extracts substantial wealth from our communities, wealth that could have been saved and passed to the next generation or spent now in our local economy, instead gets wasted in what I call the crash economy. This is money spent for first responders and investigations, vehicle, building, tree, and roadway damage, medical bills, collections, vet bills for injured pets, insurance and legal expenses, lost income, quality of life and companionship losses, lost consumer spending, and so forth. Preventable. Many of you are involved personally, or at least aware of, the city's Vision Zero work to eliminate serious traffic crashes through systems change. And I applaud Council's insistence for greater funding for that initiative. We've known for years where every dangerous street and intersection is. City planning staff has maps that identify with surgical precision where we can intervene to prevent more harm. And today, you now know the costs of the status quo and inaction. $2 billion. Just imagine the transformative effect of $2 billion back in the pockets of Cleveland neighborhoods every year. We don't have to suffer these losses. And when we make investment commitments for our neighborhoods, I urge you all to consider that we can increase community wealth not only with direct investment of dollars flowing in, but also by crafting strategy that helps hold money within our communities. I invite you to reflect on how you can use your abilities and positions to champion this work to put people and neighborhoods first.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much, sir. Next up, we have Kimberly Brown from Ward 1, Traffic Dumping Response from the Council and Administration. All right, Ms. Brown, I'm giving you a fresh 3.
Thank you very much, Council President Blaine Griffin. It's always a pleasure. I'm here tonight because we have major issues in Cleveland Ward 1. And of course, we're not getting a response from Ward 1 nor the Bibbs administration. We recently sent emails regarding traffic that occurs on 160th and Lotus. We have a charter school there. And during the hours where the kids are coming and the parents are going, leaving their children, they're actually holding residents in Cleveland Ward 1 hostage. And what I mean by that is that we can't get out of our driveways. It's very, very unsafe. You have kids going in and out of traffic, and somebody's going to get harmed. That's number one. We want that issue to be addressed, and we don't want platitude. We want a viable plan on how to get it done. We have been in conference with Ralph Johnson, who's the CEO of Breakthrough Schools, and he's been trying to get some response from this administration. Please do it so therefore, at least Lotus Drive residents, we can have some comfort, number one. Number two, there's a huge dump pile on 154th and Ramsey. We have contacted the Mayor Action Line. There's been no response. We have sent emails. There have been no response. It is very unfair that the seniors who live right there on the corner has to look at that every single second of the day when they come out their households. We need action in this city. We know that there's a strong correlation between crime and trash and crime. There's something called the broken window theory. It would behoove you to look at that theory and understand why we cannot live in a filthy, nasty neighborhood. And third, let me say this. Last night on Lotus Drive, we had drag racing. Literally, cars held residents of Lotus and Lee Road hostage because they were in the middle of the street doing donuts. Something has to be done. There was no police presence, no nothing. But the motorists were scared, and it scared the residents of Lotus. Today, I am asking for action, and I'm not going to be here all day listening to the council meeting. So I would hope that somebody would take care of this issue and email us and let us know how these issues will be resolved. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Brown. Next up, we have Anna Borkin from Ward 3 to talk about issue 24, and she's from Surge NEO. Ms. Borkin.
Hi, good evening, Council President Griffin, Vice President McCormack, Mayor Bibb. My name is Anna Borkin. I'm a Ward 3 City of Cleveland resident. I'm also an unpaid volunteer of Surge, or Showing Up for Racial Justice. I spent hundreds of hours this fall in our community talking to Cleveland voters to educate people about issue 24. I'm here tonight to urge City Council to approve the part of Mayor Bibb's budget that provides funding to the Law Department to implement issue 24. As we know, issue 24 passed on November 3rd by a significant margin. 59.4%, almost 60% of Cleveland voters voted yes to bring about real police accountability in our city. These votes were cast based on the collective understanding that the way the City of Cleveland Police Department functions, and has been functioning for decades, does not work. We have seen time and time again that people of color and poor and working class people of all races are disproportionately impacted by police violence, and each time officers continue to serve our city without real, meaningful consequences. On November 2nd, Cleveland residents were clear. This is not the service we expect nor hope for from public servants. So my question to City Council and all of its members is, will you honor Cleveland residents' voice and support Bibb's proposed Law Department budget so that issue 24 can exist not just on the books but in real practice? If not, can council members provide the residents of their wards with an explanation for a credible plan as to how issue 24 will be implemented promptly without adequate Law Department staffing and funding? In light of the passing of issue 24, now known as Charter Section number 115, I urge City Council to approve Mayor Bibb's budget so that this charter amendment can be implemented smoothly and effectively and efficiently to honor the people's choice to pass it. Mayor Bibb's budget allocates $3 million to the Law Department, which is the department that will oversee implementation of issue 24, and make sure that the will of Cleveland voters, which is now law, actually gets carried out in practice on the streets of Cleveland. In order for the new charter amendment to be effective and have real police accountability, improve public safety and police community relations, funding at this level is critical. I recognize that writing a budget is no easy task, and there are hard decisions to make. But as just one of many Clevelanders who voted for this, I urge you to fund the Law Department at this level, $3 million, because it is what is needed to implement issue 24, now known as Charter Section 115. Thank you for your time tonight, and I hope this message is met with urgency and given the importance it merits. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Borkin. Next up, I have Liz Moggins from Ward 7, and the topic that she wants to discuss is ARPA support for the arts, and she's with the Artist Bridge Coalition. Ms. Moggins.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the public comment, ladies and gentlemen of the council, and Mayor Bibb. We can all agree that art is a vital ingredient in people's lives. Art has proven to change a person's outlook and how they experience the world. The arts are invaluable to our proper functioning individually and as a society. During this pandemic, the indomitable spirit of artists, despite the crushing sadness and economic collapse, this time has been a test for creatives' resilience and generative power. The last time I was in this building and spoke was during 2002, where they had an arts and cultural summit. I think there's only one council member present that was here. We felt that we had a seat at the table, that we were being heard. We felt really part of the conversation. For decades, the city of Cleveland has had a scarce commitment representing arts and culture and the creative workforce. The arts are requesting $10 million of American Rescue Plan Act funds to leverage the creative workforce. We've been decimated, the entire workforce, which includes singer Kyle Kidd from Ohio City Ward, the designer Jamal Collins, who teaches Boys and Girls Club off Broadway and in Slavic Village, Robin Robinson, a good friend of mine, who's from Sankofa Fine Art Plus, Allie Black, who's in the Mount Pleasant Union, Miles Ward. They all need your support. These artists, as well as the countless framers, installers, ticket takers, choreographers, laborers, and other workforce creatives that fuel our nonprofit, grant institutions, and independent music venues. They need you as a champion. Mayor Bibb made a recommendation for $10 million, which is 2% from the $511 million of ARPA money. And this much-needed support for recovery of the creative workforce, neighborhood cultural organizations, and the communities where artists live and work. This and other programs can be scaled to help people in the communities that are experiencing the most pain. Artists that are involved in Y-Haven program that's through CPT in the Detroit Shoreway are working with recovery, folks who are in recovery and trying to give them supports and sort of understanding and skills so they can let their voice speak out and to be proud of something that they can share with their friends and family as they're going through this time. Refresh Collective, which is over at the Rainey Institute and is also at the new Pivot Building in Clark Fulton, is supporting young people who are really trying to learn all about civics and put music production and silk screening and trying to figure out how they can get a job. So please support this and champion the arts.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, we have Joseph Schwartzen, and he's from Ward 5 to talk about fair decriminalization, and he's with Clevelanders for Public Transit. Mr. Schwartzen, please acknowledge the clock, sir.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to talk about fair decriminalization here on our public transit. So for 3 years, we've actually had legislation written up to be passed for this, and you wouldn't expect to be thrown in jail for a parking ticket or a simple speeding ticket, which can actually harm other people, where now you can be thrown in jail for 30 days and fined up to $250 for simply not paying $250 to ride our transit here in Cleveland. The RTA has already been told that the way they enforce has already been ruled unfair and unjust. We need to, in Cleveland, also follow up and enforce this and show that, we are not going to go against our fellow citizens here in Cleveland and throw people in jail for simple maybe forgetting pay $250 for your public transit ticket. Also, this is clearly something that targets our fellow Clevelanders who are of minority descent, as most of our riders are of African American descent or African descent or other minorities here. So I hope to bring it to your attention that you will look into passing this legislation and at least bringing it to the table. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartzen. That concludes our public comments. Madam Clerk, No, they're not on the list. That's it. They're not on the list. They're not signed up. Yeah, they're not signed up. We gotta process, so they're not signed up. Madam Clerk, please have the communications.
File number 239, 2022, from John Analifo, Executive Director for Mekos Foundation. Notice of intent to apply to Ohio Housing Finance Agency for multifamily funding programs for the development known as Henrietta Homes on various sites in Cleveland, East 65th, East 70th, 71st, Dellenbaugh Avenue, Longview, Melrose, Pennsylvania, and Zoder Avenues. File number 256, 2022, oath of office for Ahmed Abanama, Director of Finance, City of Cleveland. File number 257, 2022, oath of office for Sonia Pryor Jones, Executive Assistant to Mayor, Chief of Youth and Family Success. File number 258, 2022, oath of office for Holly Trefiro, Executive Assistant to the Mayor, Chief of Education. File number 241, 2022, from Council President Blaine Griffin, recommending the appointments of Councilman Anthony T. Hairston and Joseph Titron to the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council pursuant to Section 373569 of the Ohio Revised Code. Without objection, the appointments are approved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Condolence resolutions.
Resolutions of condolence by Councilmember Conwell for Sidney Wells Sr., by Councilmember Casey for Laura F. Andel.
Any other condolences? Are there any other condolences? Seeing no other condolences, council members, please rise for a moment of silence. Thank you. Madam Clerk, congratulatory resolutions.
Resolutions of congratulations by Councilmember House for Northern Real Estate Urban Ventures, LLC. By Councilmember Polensek for Reverend Henry M. and Vivian M. Mitchell. By Councilmember Slife for Catherine Sabolick. Resolutions of recognition by Councilmember Conwell for Reverend E. Theophilus Cavanis.
All right, thank you. Now we'll have presentations, and I believe Councilman Conwell has a presentation. I'm going to ask if Councilwoman Maurer and Councilman Starr can open up the well to bring up the illustrious Reverend Dr. E.T. Cavanis. I believe he wants Mike Polensek, a couple of others to come up.
Reverend Cavanis used to be a council member down here. Matter of fact, I cut my teeth campaigning for him. I lived on Pierpont off East 105th Street. And he had me walking the neighborhood and dropping flyers, and I didn't know that I would be a councilman later. So I cut my teeth with him. Anthony Hairston, you and I talked about coming. Where council president at? Blaine Griffin, yeah. Everybody wanted to say so nice. You did a lot of work. Council President, to the mic.
First of all, thank you, and it is an honor and a privilege to bring this man down here. It's very rare that you could talk to somebody and they could call Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King by their first name and say, well, me and Martin used to do whatever. But Reverend Cavanis has been a person who has really been an icon in the city of Cleveland. Many of us have learned from him. Many of us have benefited from his prayers, his hard work, and also his political machine, including Mayor Bibb. When I turned on the commercial and seen Reverend Cavanis shaking his head, I said, uh-oh. I said, it's trouble. But Rev, it's really an honor and a privilege, and we all are here just to say thank you and appreciate you, and definitely I know the Dean and a couple of others wanted to say a couple of remarks for you.
Yeah, we move out. Dean?
Thank you. Thank you, my honorable colleagues, and to the clerk and honorable mayor. See, I don't call him Rev, I call him Theo, okay? Because we go back a long way. I had the pleasure to serve with him many years ago. And I could tell you a lot of stories, but we won't go into that in great detail, okay? But a wonderful human being, cares greatly about the Glenville community, and has demonstrated it repeatedly over the years. Here's his concern for the folks, not only in Glenville, but across the entire city. I'm proud to call him a friend. I've been honored to have his support over the years. And my friend, God bless you, and I wish you many more.
Yes. Young Anthony. Councilman.
Okay, old school Conwell. Thank you, brother. just to echo my colleagues, you know, I've had the pleasure of getting to know the Reverend Cavanis over the years, although we didn't serve together, obviously, right? but we had an opportunity to learn from him in different capacities throughout my work here in the community, and so we are honoring a true giant here who has done so much for so many people throughout the city and abroad. And so tonight is a special night for him, and we thank him for all the work that he has done to help each and every one of us be where we are. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristen, are we able to put this in the newsletter also, Mr. Mayor? Okay,
yeah,
good.
I'll be real quick because I know this isn't my body. This is not just a man that is known across the city of Cleveland and the state of Ohio, but Reverend Cavanis is a national figure in this country. Just last week, I had a conversation with the mayor of Houston, Sylvester Turner, and he told me about the work you were doing in Houston to elevate the concerns of our residents right here in Cleveland, Ohio. So again, congratulations for being a titan and a spiritual moral leader of our city for decades. Reverend, we appreciate it.
Reverend, I'm going to read at least three Reverend. No. 3 paragraphs of, I'm going to do word economy on this. The members of Cleveland City Council are extremely proud, welcome back, Councilman, proud and pleased to note that and observe of the federal Martin Luther King holiday and throughout Black History Month, Harrison County Historical Museum in Marshall, Texas, kicked off a special traveling journey stories exhibit highlighting the life of civil rights leader and philanthropist and Cleveland pastor, the Reverend Dr. Emmett T. Cavanis, where he was born May 23rd, 1928 in Marshall, Texas, 1 year before the Great Depression and during the height of the segregation. The Reverend Dr. Cavanis worked hard to overcome obstacles. He graduated from Pemberton High School in 1945 and earned a BA degree from Bishop College in Dallas, Texas. He furthered his education and received a Bachelor's of Divinity from Eden Theological Seminary in Webster Grove, Missouri, and an honorary doctorate in divinity from Virginia Seminary School, an doctorate degree, you got so many degrees, man, of law at Central State University in Ohio. Dr. Cavanis, you have done so much. I could go on and on and on and on at Cleveland City Council, but I want to thank you on behalf of Council President, the Mayor, Council Member Anthony Harrison, Councilman Mike Polisic, Mayor Bibb. Oh yeah, and I always mention my wife. This is your plaque. Beautiful. This is your plaque, Councilman.
To our illustrious mayor and our distinguished council president, and to the totality of each and every one of you here, I think it was Sidney Poitier said he got through life by saying 2 things, and that's thank you and please. So please let me out of here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and please get me out of here.
We got to use that for a council meeting every once in a while. So first reading, emergency ordinances referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 242, 2022, by Council Members McCormack, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Works to enter into an amendment to a contract with the Group Plan Commission to allow them to construct improvements to Public Square and Superior Avenue and to cause payment of the city's share of the improvement. Ordinance 243, 2022, by Councilmember Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Human Resources or other appropriate directors to apply for and accept one or more grants from the Cleveland Foundation to place approximately 10 public service fellows in various departments for a period of 1 year.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First reading of... Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to get a
Ordinance
groove here.
244, 2022, by council members Starr, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, giving consent of the City of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio to construct central interchange improvements and authorizing agreements. Ordinance 245, 2022, by council members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into one or more requirement contracts with Siemens Industry for software, labor, and materials necessary to maintain, repair, upgrade, and expand the existing Apogee building automation system for the Division of Airports, Department of Port Control, for a period not to exceed 2 years with 2 one-year options to renew, the first of which requires additional legislative authority. Ordinance 246, 2022, by council members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into various leases or leases by way of concession with various car rental companies to operate and maintain car rental agencies inside the facilities and in the service center areas and buildings at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport and Burke Lakefront Airport for a period of 5 years with one option to renew for an additional 5-year period, exercisable through additional legislative authority. Ordinance 247, 2022, by council members KZ, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works to enter into a lease agreement granting Bel Air Puritas Development Corporation the right to use and occupy city-owned property located within Jefferson Park to maintain and repair 8 stone benches for the use and convenience of the general public.
All right. Madam Clerk, first reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 248, 2022, by Councilmember McCormack, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Cleveland St. Patrick's Day Run on March 19, 2022, managed by Hermes Sports and Events.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Santana, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember McCormack.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Moore, McCormack, Mooney, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you. Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Moore, McCormack, Mooney, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you. First reading emergency resolution to be adopted.
Resolution 249, 2022, by Councilmember Polensek, withdrawing objection to a new C1 liquor permit at 1201 East 185th Street and repealing Resolution 601, 2019, objecting to said permit.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Santana, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember McCormack.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Moore, McCormack, Mooney, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Moore, McCormack, Mooney, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Second reading emergency ordinance.
Ordinance 148, 2022, as amended, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request to make appropriations and provide current expenses for the daily operation of all municipal departments of the City of Cleveland for the fiscal year from January 1, 2022 until December 31st, 2022.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Second reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 1059, 2021, by council members Bashir Jones, Hairston, Santana, Spencer, Bishop, Brancatelli, and Kelly by departmental request, authorizing the Directors of Public Works and Community Development to enter into a property exchange agreement with the Board of Education of Cleveland Metropolitan School District for the transfer of various properties between the parties to facilitate the efficient use of real estate for public purposes, including constructing new parks, assembling land, improving existing school campuses, and disposing of underutilized or unneeded real estate, authorizing the mayor and the commissioner of purchases and supplies to acquire and convey the properties, and authorizing the conveyance of one of the properties received from the school district to Kenmore Commons Limited Partnership or its designee for future development. Ordinance 92, 2022, by council members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 1 of Ordinance 475, 2021, relating to professional services to assist in writing curriculum for the Division of Police Training and to instruct officers in teaching the curriculum. Ordinance 95, 2022, by council members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to accept a grant from the United States Department of Justice, COPS Office for the fiscal year 21 COPS hiring program for neighborhood response groups. Ordinance 96, 2022, by council members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing directors of public safety or law to apply for and accept grants from the County Public Safety and Justice Services for fiscal year 2021 Violence Against Women Act program for sexual assault advocate and for the law enforcement and prosecution components of the Cleveland Domestic Violence Program, and authorizing one or more contracts with Cleveland Rape Crisis Center and other entities to implement the grants. Ordinance 99, 2022, by council members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Safety to enter into one or more agreements with Case Western Reserve University for professional services necessary to continue implementation of a data collection and analysis process for the Division of Police Department of Public Safety for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 173, 2022, by Councilmember Griffin, authorizing the Clerk of Council to enter into agreement with the project group for professional assistance in investigating utility-related matters pertaining to the divisions of Cleveland Public Power, Water, and Water Pollution Control for Cleveland City Council.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Santana, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage. Seconded by Councilmember McCormack.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Moore, McCormack, Mooney, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Moore, McCormack, Mooney, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Second reading emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 219, 2022, by council members Starr and Moore, strongly opposing Cuyahoga County's selection of the Cuyahoga Valley Industrial Center at Pershing Avenue in Ward 12 as the location of a new jail, and further opposing Cuyahoga County's alternative use of the Cuyahoga Valley Industrial Center as a container storage facility.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Santana, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage. Seconded by Councilmember McCormack.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Moore, McCormack, Mooney, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Moore, McCormack, Mooney, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. I believe now we're going to go to introductions. Does anybody have any introductions? Any introductions? Councilman Richard Starr.
Over there for Ward 5, we have Bridget Smith Jackson over there. She runs the Learning Center on Rainbow Terrace.
Where's Bridget at?
And we have Bob Greg from Cedar State Center, that's Ward 5 leaders that do a lot of work, and I like the work that I'm
Have him please stand. Oh, there she is. We all know Bridget does great work, Bridget, so thank you on behalf of all of us, and thank you, Councilman Starr. We always appreciate you guys, okay? Any other introductions? Seeing no more introductions, are there any announcements? Any announcements? Seeing no announcements, is there any miscellaneous? Any miscellaneous? Seeing no miscellaneous, Madam Clerk, please excuse the absences.
By Councilmember Santana, that the absence of Councilmember Bishop is hereby excused. Seconded by Councilmember McCormack.
Thank you. This council is adjourned at the call of the chair. The next regular meeting of council will be on Monday, March the 21st. Monday, March the 21st. Next week, many members will be out, so we won't have a quorum. So our next meeting will be March the 21st. Thank you.